right, let's have a lesson. Today we are going to talk about drawing leaves. And for this, I'm going to do a basil plant. And the whole theme of this lesson is going to be don't overthink it. All right, leaves with watercolor are very simple because of the very shape of the round brush that we use. So it's going to be fairly simple. The hardest part, I think, is mixing the colors and getting the effects in at the right time. So step one, let's mix colors. I'm going to use a medium brush to do this. The green that I'm starting off with, normally I use a phthalo green. This one I'm actually going to use a sap green, which I have a tube of. If you don't have a tube of sap green, just note that if you add a bunch of yellow to phthalo green, any type of yellow, and a little bit of red, you'll get this nice olivey sap green. But this is my sap green right here. And I'm going to mix with it a little bit of phthalo green. That's that bright, bold green. And I'll tone it down with just a little bit of red. And that'll make a nice olivey green. I'm going to get a little bit of extra water on my paintbrush because we want it nice and syrupy. Is that the right word? Not quite. Watery. We'll just say watery. We want it nice and watery. When we make our first leaf, and all these leaves, the biggest thing I want you to remember is this idea of thin, thick, thin. So we're going to start with just the tippy little bit of our brush, and then we're going to push down so it gets thicker, and then we're going to get skinny again. Are you ready? This is how we make our brush work for us. So skinny at the top, then nice and thick, and then we pull up. When we do it that way, you'll see that you get a lot of variation within one individual leaf. And that's perfect because when you're painting nature, variation is key. We want variation in color. We want variation in where the leaves are. We want variation in shape. Nothing is structured or perfect in nature. So this one I gave a little twirl to it, so it's pointing downward, this leaf. And now I'm pulling it to a nice thin point. Sticking with that idea of variation, I'm going to add in a few extra shades of green. I just tapped a little bit of my phthalo green. Did you know that phthalo starts with PH? It's actually PHTH. So if you're looking it up on the internet, go PHTHALO. So I added a little extra color in there. Look, I added a drop and it just kind of spread out. That's because I'm hitting it while the paper is already wet, and it makes a really nice watercolor effect. So this is getting pretty watery, so I'm going to take my paper towel and dab off some of my water. I've decided just by looking at this I want even more variation, so I'm taking my sap green and adding a bit of cadmium yellow to it. And I want my leaves toward the top to get a little bit smaller, but we still want the idea of thin, push down, thick, and then thin, and it's so easy to do with one of these watercolor round brushes. I'll scooch on ahead. I'll get our stem in there just so we know what our central focal point is. When we do our stem, just try to not push down too much so you get a nice narrow stem. Again, some variation. We want slight curvature, nothing perfectly straight in nature. And since this is nice and wet, we want, guess what? Variation in the stem as well. So I'm going to take another just slightly different shade of green. I mixed a little bit of indigo with it. I'm just going to touch it to a few points just to drive home that idea of variation. So as we get further down, we can start making the leaves a bit bigger. Well, except that one. Do as I say, not as I talk about. No, do as I do, not as I say. Oh man. All right, push down. And then pull it out toward the end, nice and narrow. Again, I'm just going to add in a few extra colors just to get some variation going. Now I'm going to do my big leaves. Again, I'm taking this sap green, putting a touch of phthalo green in it, and then let's do a big chunky leaf right here. This one is a little bit too wide to just do by pushing down my brush, so I'm swiping around either side of it. I want more variation in here. And generally, there's a little dark moment happening at the the part of the leaf that's closest to the stem. So I've make that dark moment happen by taking a bit of phthalo green mixed with indigo and just touching it to those corners. I'll do it up here too, right where they touch the stem. There you go. Curve around the edge right there. Let's do another big honking leaf. Ready? Big honker. Push down confidently. That little twirl of my brush, that's to make sure that the tip, that's so skinny and fine, is what's always touching the edge of the page. And that's what allows you to get those crisp edges. Lovely. Let's touch that dark little moment right here. And now we're going to do our very biggest leaf right at the bottom. For this one, I'm going to add extra yellow in with my sap green. Again, can't say it enough. Variation. This tip I'm going to curve around just to have it be a little bit different. And this one I think I'll make a whole little branch because variation. We're getting bigger towards the bottom. So this one, I'm making a bunch of leaves together, again using that thin, thick, thin approach. A little more yellow, some variation right there. Let's add 3 little leaves right here. There, hey guys, we're starting to look real happy. All right, let's have a couple more. We want them to be peeking out from behind. In nature, things do grow on top of one another, so it's okay to paint it that way. When this dries a bit, I'll crisp up that edge so you can tell that it's one on top of another one. Same with right here. I'm going to add a dark moment right there because I forgot to do it before. Nice little dark moment. There. Some of these are starting to be half dry, which is my favorite moment to add effects. So I'm just going to touch a little bit of plain water to some of these leaves, just because then you get these little watercolor moments where you get dark ridges and rippled edges, and I just love that. And so does the whole wide world. That's the stuff that people pay the big bucks for. So tracing around those edges, and in general, I'm pretty happy with that. So there's a very quick tutorial on how to do leaves and plants. It's just to get you started. There's so much more you can do with plants, but that's how you can get going. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you join us for another tutorial. Feel free to subscribe, then you'll be alerted when we have new lessons. And always comment if there's any one that you want to see that I haven't done yet. Thanks, and happy